the cleanest state in Nigeria between Akwa Ibom and Calaba. So the notion that Lagos smells is not actually wrong. I mean, I have spent literally 15 to 17 years in Lagos, and I can count so many places in Lagos State that stinks. I mean, if the Yorubas who live in Lagos or the Lagosians themselves, if they cannot take a feedback from a fellow Lagosian because you think he's from the southeast, then can you just please support the cause for them to have their own nation, have their own country, where they will no longer have a say to speak about Lagos State? We must be students of history. Lagos was a capital within the period of 1914 to 1991 or 1992. It was under Babangida, right, into Abacha, that they moved the FCC capital to Abuja. So for a period of nothing less than 60 years, wherein taxpayers' money across the country was invested in Lagos State. I mean, we have to talk intelligently and critically. If a Lagosian who is not, maybe because of origin, place of origin, a Lagosian, but maybe by birth or maybe by residence, he has stayed in Lagos for a very long period of time. He does his business here, he pays his taxes to Lagos government. The least I expect from any Lagos public worker is to come out and try and tribalize the conversation. The question is does Lagos stinks? Yes. Akwa Ibom that I said, or Calabar that I said, happens to be the cleanest state in Nigeria. I've been there. But even at that, I will still say that Akwa Ibom and Calabar stinks because I cannot find a living fish, right, in the gutter. I mean, we see what happens in Japan, right? The cleanest state or country in the old wide world is Japan. Is America not dirty? Have we not seen Chinese people call out the Americans for their dirtiness? But Nigeria, as it is today, will say we are one, that the Igbos should not go, right? But again, when the Igbos, who of course in their own right have invested massively in Lagos State, when they try to give feedbacks, I mean, imagine you have a business and then your major customer comes in and asks you, why is your office or your store or your whatever your business premise is, why is it hot? Why don't you have AC? You have the money. Or he comes and he asks you, why is your toilet not, why is there no water? But then instead of you to take a look at it, okay, we are going to make it better, and work towards it, then you start engaging your customer like, are you okay? If you know you don't want to, if you know what you ought to do is insult me with your feedbacks that are expected to improve your business, in this instance, the Lagos state, then why are you, I mean, it doesn't add up. It doesn't add up. The Lagos State environmental and whatever commissioner, I mean, his tweet is over there. He is just directly implying and inciting tribal, sentiment, saying that you have to go back to your state. I mean, that word shouldn't be coming out from him, who is a public worker. Yes, the Yoruba Ronus can engage in their tribal bigotry about that. I mean, it's what they do, it's what they live for. I mean, these are people who all of a sudden have kept quiet since Tinubu became the president. This is a man who has not even done anything significant for their life. But at least they've achieved their aim to have a Yoruba presidency. But it hasn't made the Yoruba region any prosperous than the southeast. It hasn't made the Yoruba region any more prosperous than the north. And when I'm talking about the south region, I usually exclude the Lagos state because Lagos has had massive, high level of inflow from the federal government and, of course, from the collective people of the Nigerian people. I mean, these things are out there, they are obvious, they are in the plain white. But why would you allow bigotry to affect your common sense? If we ask ourselves the question, if the Igbos that we all want to love to eat, but of course, you cannot do without them. And as far as Nigeria economy is concerned, can you do without these Igbos who are largely into trade and businesses? Can you? I mean, can we? Because let me tell you why it will be difficult. First and foremost, if in a situation you chase out all the Igbos, retailers in Idumota, in Ladipo, name them, right? But when you find out that who are the people that have occupied the upper echelon of the supply chain, I mean, who are the higher level? It is still the Igbo people. Yes, we might have some minor Yorubas, but when you check at it, who are the people that have that direct link with the manufacturer in China? See the Igbos. So imagine you send away the retailers. Now, who would be the wholesalers? In fact, some Igbos already have their own factories set up. My comment today is a wake-up call to the Yorubas that this petty level of bigotry is only destroying our own efficiency, our own critical way of thinking that we need to work hard and rise up. When you keep pushing people to the wall, when you keep throwing people into the fire, it is only one thing. The person will either die or he comes out a better person. And for over 60 years, in fact, for as long as Nigeria has been, has been created, these people were the first that had the first massacre when we had the Aba riot issue, right? Then we had series of the Enugu, the co-workers. Then, of course, we started having the Yorubas becoming very highly agitated in politics. But again, you will see that these guys have always intensely been involved in Nigerian politics, but they have not gotten a fair share. However, we keep radicalizing them. What the Yorubas actually ought to do, or not all the Yorubas, pardon me, but for those who are supporting this commissioner, for those who are pushing this very low level, unintelligent level of bigotry, that the Igbos must go back to their country, to their state, what have you, what they should rather advocate for is Tinubu. After all, Tinubu is a Lagos boy. We need you to declare Biafra. Yes, if Biafra happens today, right? Biafra happens today, I myself will tell my Igbo brothers that go back to your town, go back to your region. And then I will decide on my own personal note, do I want to go and join them in the Biafra to build it together, or do I want to remain in this contraption called One Nigeria? Because then we'll be left with just the Yorubas and the Northern Fulanese. We might end up cannibalizing ourselves. But the question is, you don't want them to go, but you want to have their investment. You want to have their investment, you don't want to have their complaints. It is absurd. It is just it is preposterous. It doesn't make any iota of sense. What has been said by that guy on that famous blog that is trending? There was a girl one time, I think an NYC copper who also, that lady was almost vindicated. I think there was a time they even almost wanted to mob her. A copper, she said she's in Lagos and she couldn't believe that Lagos would be stinky. That is a wake-up call for the commissioner and the Yoruba collective, that this is what they want to use to stigmatize us. We must do everything to down tune it by working on it. I mean, recall when Awolowo wanted to initiate the free education scheme in the Southwest. In the Southeast, they already had the first chancellor of the school. They've had their own, they were having very large yearly graduates in education. And it was becoming a shame that it was only Lagosians that were educated. So Awolowo thought it deemed that I need to democratize education for the whole Western region. And he did. And when he did it, he saw the rapid growth. Awolowo didn't descend into saying that when Zeke used to yab him, he didn't say that, "Like, shut up, go and face your region." Awolowo introspect, he internalized the issue, and he felt, man, the future of my children will be a very terrible and really gory sight if I do not invest on this, my kids. Today, the Igbos are giving us a part to improve on. But instead, their businesses are being attacked. Their persons are being attacked. If the Igbos have decided to leave their own states and talk about the Southwest as a whole, that the Southwest is underdeveloped, my brother, it is a good sign that they pay more attention into your region than theirs. I mean, listen, I used to tell my staffs that when a customer comes to your outlets to patronize you, and that customer, while he's patronizing you, is telling you that you need to smile, you need to be respectful, and then also you guys need to deodorize this place. It is simple. It is because he loves you. Because I am not the only one doing that kind of business. There are so many other people into such business. You could just decide to go elsewhere. Imagine you go to a store, a restaurant to eat, and maybe you found something unpleasant in the plate. What you could do easily is not go back there anymore. But you could call the manager of the store. Hello, listen, this is what I found. I mean, this is unhealthy. You guys need to check, right? You could decide to make it loud, whatever the case is. But this is what I found. How a customer reacts, you cannot control it, right? Now, work on it. If you see the customer patronizing you, fine. If the customer does not patronize you, at least he has given you a feedback for you to improve. Now, in Lagos, what they want to, and this is the trend. This is the trend they will follow. The last time that I said that Peter Obi is asleep, when I mentioned that Peter B is acting like a spineless man, I got attacked heavily by my subscribers. Some people said I should never in my life. Listen, I am not in any way calling Peter B that it should become a bigot. No. But what Peter B needs to do is face the bull by the horn, face the monster. The monster that the Southwest, which is being financed and fueled by Tinubu, whether you like it or not, is that ethnic bigotry. Have you not seen it? Have you not noticed it? I mean, a young guy who hadn't, maybe probably he has seen some of the hypes online, the commercials. And Lagos is a very beautiful place, which indeed, if you go to some parts of Lagos, yes, you go to Lagos Island, some places are indeed beautiful. But I'm telling you, in Lagos Island, as you can see, there are no drainages. Like, for real, there are no drainages. What would you say? I mean, you cannot stay on a Lagos island. What's it called? Is it Babadi Way, Ozumbambadi Way, or Admiralty Way? All these places, if it rains heavily for 3 goddamn hours, I am telling you, you might just get drowned. Right? So imagine I have a house there, but because I am not by birth a Lagosian or by origin a Lagosian, as the case is, and I just felt I haven't had so much investment here. And I take it to my Twitter page or my social media handle, and I said Lagos is underdeveloped. And the next thing is I am being targeted. My business is being burnt down. And I haven't seen the Lagos governor, I haven't seen the PRs of Lagos governors coming out to say that we will work on it. Lagos is always a whip work in progress. I mean, we haven't gotten to the Eureka. We are still working on public water system. I mean, everybody knows that Lagos has the best, even if it's not the best in Africa, whatever. But at least in Nigeria, Lagos has the best public mass transit, which is the BRT. Yes, we can talk about the menace of the downfalls, but at least the BRT, the bus rapid transit movement or whatever it is the best in Nigeria. And there are so many states trying to copy it. So being the bigger brother, yes, because you have had the opportunity to become a capital, you have had the opportunity to have the highest population, which of course by extension, by and large, there will be more opportunities because where more people are, of course, there will be more opportunities. It is rocket science. It is not rocket science. It's just an issue of demand and supply, right? So why should the Igbos continue to be under the attack of the Southwesterners just because of a mere feedback? If they decide to focus on Lagos, I wish they do the same for Oyo State. I sincerely wish they do. I'm not a Lagosian. But I have always wished that the Igbos will migrate more into Oyo State. While I have my people there who have who have failed to be complaining, because I am supposed to be having so many of my Oyo people who live in Oyo coming to the social media saying, telling to the governor that Oyo State, the rules are a shame. If, having an aerial view in Oyo State, you think you are still in the 16th centuries. I mean, everywhere brown, 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 right? I'm also using this medium to call out the Oyo State governor. We need to have an agenda that we want to have a urban renewal, and we're starting with housing, roofs, beautification, and there has to be an incentive for it. But you see, we need those complaints to come in to be a better person. I mean, the way I think, the way I analyze issues, I might, I will, I'm not a bigot, right? So some Yorubas, I expect them to attack me. Like I'm a bastard. They might call me all manner of names. That I'm looking for followers. I'm looking for the Igbos to like my channel. I mean, listen, you as a Yoruba person, this channel is way more important to you than an Igbo man. That's the truth. We need to what to actually I mean take away and cleanse the bigotry, because these things take us nowhere. If we really want to go into bigotry, the first thing we must do is let us have a divided country. Yes. When we have a divided country, then we can decide amongst ourselves in the Yoruba land. Okay? Then we can start the bigotry when the Igbos are on their own. We can start the bigotry. This is what I have achieved. Because I like to play a battle and a game on a level playing field. I do not want a situation whereby I have the upper hand. You know, I have it, which is an unfair issue, and I mean, in a manner, okay. Why those who are my opponents, I have that unfair advantage over them, and yet I still want to keep them silent. No, 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 no. You have to be human, right? And you have to show that you are not inferior, because it is inferiority complex that gets you scared because you cannot control them. Let them go. When they go, I will have my own place of Western region. And when I do that, yes, let them be doing whatever. Is it the business? Is it the trading? Is it the innovation? I will be doing my own in the Southwest, my own innovation, my own business. And maybe on a yearly basis, we'll just be taking a peek at ourselves, maybe on social media. We might decide to have that maybe a union of countries just for competitive reasons. This is what we brought this year. You can see we're ahead of you guys, but at least we will now understand that okay, fine, the Igbos were never our problems. Or peradventure, we have always been better than the Igbos, or the Igbos have always been better than us. I mean, these were the issues in Europe. The Europe's at a time were also faced with serious tribal bigotry wars until they had the Dark Ages wars, and so many of these countries. You see, the Sweden, Norway, and Denmark. They used to be one nation, three brothers. But eventually, these are three brothers with different characteristics. The Swedish were more of a socialite. The Norwich, the Norwegian, the Nordics were more of the brutes who were so, I mean, they were so brash, so wicked. Same thing with the Denmarks, but the Denmarks to an extent were sort of good builders of ships. I mean, they were badass when it comes to construction of ships. And somehow everybody, it got to a point they needed to just, when the Swedish were more of this, social and the spiritism, it got to a point like the Norwich were just, eating up the Swedish people. They had the war, and it got to a point they all had to split. They had to have that peaceful agreement that we're going to have our nations. However, at the upper level, maybe as a foreign policy, we'll be competing amongst ourselves. And today we can see they see themselves as brothers. But let me control my territory while you do yours with your own territory. For as long as one Nigeria is concerned, you do not have the right. I do not have the right to say that if you're not Yoruba, you cannot tell me that Lagos smells. It's not possible. Because as far as I'm concerned, yes, Lagos is still developing. And if anybody tell you that Lagos it smells, yes. I mean, let's go to Fagba. Let's go to Agege. Let's go to Alabarago. Let's go to, I mean, so many places. Thank you. Bye for now.